time for Tiger Talk on the Tiger Sports Network. Tiger Talk, live from Tiger Club inside the Robins Center on the Fort Hays State Campus, is brought to you by these premier Tiger sponsors. Golden Belt Bank of Hayes and Ellis, banking one story at a time. The Hayes Med Orthopedic Institute, expertise, technology, compassion, all right here. Adams Brown, strategic allies and CPAs, going above and beyond for you. BTI, your John Deere dealer, with locations in Buckland, Great Bend, Greensburg, Hoxie, Ness City, and Pratt. BTI, our family in partnership with your family. The Taco Shop, dine in, carry out, or delivery. Since 1970, you've never had it so good. And Eagle, our community connected. Tiger Talk with the voice of the Tigers, Gerard Wellbrock.
And good afternoon and welcome into another edition of Tiger Talk. We're live inside the Robins Center on the Fort Hays State University campus, part of Tiger Club, and we're glad to have you with us here today as we talk some Fort Hays State athletics. We're going to have several guests. We have a first indoor version of Tiger Talk today. We're going to talk with men's wrestling coach Eric Wentz. We're going to get an update on women's soccer, volleyball as well, and, of course, football with head football coach Chris Brown. Again, we'd like to invite you to join us live. You can do so by joining Tiger Club. You can do that by contacting the Fort Hays State Athletic Department, and $100 goes toward athletic scholarships. Pay for your meal every Wednesday. Great camaraderie, great food, a lot of great fun every Wednesday with Tiger Club, and that's where we broadcast every week here on Tiger Talk. We're going to get into wrestling here with Eric Wentz in just a little bit, but first remind you, you can participate by sending in a question. Go to FHSUathletics.com, click on the fans link. You'll get that drop-down menu and ask the coach, submit your question, and if we use it, you'll have a chance to win a Fort Hays State t-shirt from the athletic department. We had one sent in this morning for women's soccer. We'll get to that a little bit later on. Of course, everybody in attendance can send a question up as well. Dennis Hebner is our t-shirt winner from last week. He had a question that we use for the coach, so he will be the lucky winner of a Fort Hays State football t-shirt. All right, before we get into wrestling, let's get a quick update on cross country. They'll be running at the MIAA Championships. That'll be in Columbia, Missouri on Friday. The men's soccer team, they lost at home to number 22 Rogers State 7-0 on Saturday. They're now 4-6-2, 3-2-2 in the GAC, and they'll be hosting Ouachita Baptist tomorrow at 7, and then Harding University Saturday morning at 11 o'clock. Both of those will be on the MIAA network. All right, now let's talk some wrestling. Hard to believe we're talking indoor sports already, the winter sports, but Eric Wentz, fourth-year head coach of the Tigers, joins us. You've got the black and gold scrimmage on Saturday. How did that happen? That got here quick.
It did, man. I tell you what, it feels like we just got started, which we had our first official practice October 10th. But, we've been going hard preseason, getting our workouts in here and there, lifting hard, and, doing lots of individual workouts. And so now we're ready to get after it. I know the guys are excited. We've been working on matchups for that most of the week. And we're ready to put some black and gold singlets on, strap the headgear on, and get after it on Saturday.
Well, talk about it. One thing I noticed, you've got a big room, 33 on your roster. Tell us about the returners, and then maybe some of the new faces for all the Tiger fans out there that they're going to see for the first time on Saturday.
Yeah, obviously we've got, returning All-Americans, Terrius Henry, Cade Lindsey. Terrius, coming off a great summer of training where he won a Greco-Roman national championship and finished third at the U23 freestyle national championships as well. We were really hoping to be in Finland right now, but that didn't work out at the U23 World Championships. But, he's coming back looking good, as always, team leader in the room, multiple-time academic All-American as well. Cade Lindsey, he's back. He won't be in the lineup till second semester, coming off a knee injury that he sustained in the postseason last year. So, but we got a lot of other guys coming back. Team captain Cody Hicks will be moving up to 165 this year. He's had a great summer of training. He was also a Greco-Roman All-American at the U23 National Championships. Tony Caldwell, heavyweight, projected starter right now. He was also an All-American in Greco at the U23s, and he's looking to make his mark. He was a match away from qualifying for nationals last year, so he's kind of on a mission to crack that trip to the national tournament this year, which luckily is in Park City, Kansas. So,
talk a little bit about the summer, and you mentioned the U23 Greco-Roman. I know during the Summer Tiger Clubs you explained it a little bit for Terrius and the guys who participated. They had great success. Explain that a little bit, the difference, Greco-Roman and what you guys do, and just how that all worked this summer and the national championships they won and what that all means.
Yeah, so Greco-Roman's the oldest style of wrestling in the world. It's all upper body wrestling. You can't use your legs to attack, can't attack your opponent's legs. So it's a lot of, you hope it's a lot of throws to make it exciting, but it's a lot of strategy and hand fighting and creating angles, and that's why I push our guys to do it, because it's a very tough version of wrestling, and you learn how to use your body, how to work positioning, and how to really kind of dominate your opponent in the center of the mat, and that's obviously the name of the game for the sport. So I really encourage my guys to do it, and I think it's a great asset to have, and if you are good at it and you learn how to throw, it's a great tool to have in your back pocket in case you need it.
Well, and you mentioned those guys who participated. They're among your team leaders, and I think that's probably the cool part about it. I mean, they are good team leaders and teammates for the rest of those guys, bringing them along.
Yes, sir.
And talk about just the competition. You got the bigger roster that you have and all these newcomers, and I guess that's the name of the game. You want that competition at all those weight spots, and there's going to be injuries. It's inevitable in wrestling, but to have that deep room and have that competition, it's got to be so important.
Yeah, you got to have a couple guys at every weight. Even if you've got your top tier guy, you got to have somebody behind them pushing them throughout the whole year in the room. One thing we talk about when we're recruiting is who's gonna be able to come into the room and be competitive in the room, even if they're not going to crack starting lineup right away. Who's going to push our best guys to get even better, who might even threaten for that starting job. So, maybe they feel a little bit of pressure, from the guy who's the slated starter, that maybe he needs to step his effort up a little bit, or get a little more focused in certain areas, and he's got to get better. Just because he's a starting guy doesn't mean he doesn't have to work. So we've tried to find those guys that are going to push our starters.
We'll talk more about the black and gold and some of the specifics here in a little bit, but just talk about your schedule a little bit. I know, and even guys who may not crack your lineup for the duels, when you get into that, there's still a lot of opportunities for them to wrestle. I'm assuming that's going to be the same case again this year with some of the either wrestling independently or how that goes about, but I imagine a lot of opportunities for those guys as well.
Oh yeah, we've got a whole open schedule, unattached schedule for guys who might not be in the lineup. If they're redshirting, we've got anywhere from 15 events that we can send them to every weekend or every other weekend, just to make sure they're getting matches in and getting that competition. So plus we do a lot of tournament simulation and match simulation in the room, so they'll be getting lots of action.
All right, black and gold coming up here. We'll get to that a little bit. We had a question from our audience. Tell us about your new assistant coach. First time to have a full-time assistant. That's got to be a little bit nice, I would imagine.
Yeah, I'll tell you what a huge asset he's been. It frees me up a little bit to do more of the behind-the-scenes stuff for office work and things like that. But just, as far as recruiting goes, as far as in the room, he's running most of the practices. But, we talk about it all day about what we're going to do. And, so he's in the room and he's doing a lot of the instruction, but he's awesome. Colton McKiernan is his name, and he was round of 12 guy at the Division I National Championships last year for SIU Edwardsville. 6'4", 240. He's a big guy. You can't miss him on campus. But he's great for guys like Terrius who need big bodies to push him, because I'm getting too old and Terrius is getting too good, let's be honest, and that we can't, if we get our hands on him, we're lucky if we touch his leg. But we brought in Colton, and he's great for Terrius and Ryan Patterson, who's Terrius' backup right now, and then also for Tony at heavyweight, and for my new freshman heavyweight who's 6'4", 250 pounds as well. He's going to be great for him, because he could be a Colton McKiernan clone real quick, and he's a good enough athlete to do it. So he's been awesome in all aspects.
That's good to hear. Good to have him aboard. All right, let's talk about the specifics. 7 o'clock Saturday, black and gold scrimmage. Talk about the night. I'm sure it's not going to be too much different than what you've done in the past, which Tiger fans have come out and seen before. Yeah.
We got some great matchups. We got some weights we got to get a pecking order, because we do open up with some dual meets. So we got to know who's going to be the guy, because of redshirting, so we need to know who's going to step in, and because once they step in on the mat in a 4-day singlet, redshirt's out the door. So, we're going to have some great matchups there. The fun part is after about our 7th match, we're going to have a women's exhibition as well.
Cool.
We were talking about that today, and we got those lineups set. So the women will be wrestling at intermission of ours. They'll be wrestling freestyle, which is what they do, which is very similar to folk style. But some of the upper weights will get some matches later in the evening, and we're really just gonna turn the lights on, get the smoke machine going, and make sure these guys make sure they know it's for fun. This is not a massive wrestle off where they're trying to take each other out. We're gonna showcase what we've got in the lineup this year.
Should be an exciting night. Of course, obviously, yes, the addition of women's wrestling will be a whole other element, and that'll be fun to have them a part of it. Eric, we appreciate it. We'll be talking to you more on a regular basis as we get closer into your season, but it's here. Best of luck on Saturday. Hope everybody can come out Saturday night, 7 o'clock, black and gold scrimmage. We appreciate you joining us here today.
Thank you. I'm excited to be back.
There you go. That is Eric Wentz, head wrestling coach at Fort Hays State University. Again, the black and gold scrimmage on Saturday at 7. A reminder, Tiger Talk brought to you in part by Golden Belt Bank. Your life has a story. Golden Belt Bank wants to get to know that story. Golden Belt Bank, Hayes and Ellis. Visit them at goldenbeltbank.com. More Tiger Talk next. This is the Tiger Sports Network, built by PwC. Second down and 1 after the 9-yard gain. Dawson runs a shovel pass up the middle to Cormany at the 10 to the 5, stretches, he is in! Touchdown! Fort Hays State! The shovel pass from Dawson to tight end Cale Cormany, who has his second receiving touchdown of the year, and it's 16-0 Tigers on the very first play of the second quarter. Yeah, it looked like Mahomes to Kelsey on Saturday. Some of the action from the Tigers win over Nebraska Kearney. We'll talk football with head coach Chris Brown as we move on a little bit here in the program. But right now we're going to talk some women's soccer. Dyson John joining us. The Tigers coming off another good weekend on the road. Beat Northeastern State 2-0 on Friday. Knocked off Rogers State 1-0 on Sunday. Both on the road. They're now 10-1-3, 6-0-1 in the MIAA. Congratulations. Great job this weekend. And we talked here before the show. It's kind of a grind right now. You had all those home matches early. Now you're on the road a lot to close out the year, but you got off to a good start on this road trip with 2 nice road wins in Tahlequah and Claremore over the weekend.
Yeah, Northeastern was really, really physical, very athletic team, and we knew that they were going to be a tough one. Against Rogers, we just didn't play very well. I'll be completely honest. They had a goal actually disallowed that should have stood when I went back and looked at it, so thank you. We'll take it. But, no, I just, it was a long weekend, and then, we hopped on the bus on, last Thursday, and we said, hey, it sucks to go and play away, but at least it won't be windy there. We were wrong. It was definitely windy.
I think it was windy everywhere.
In both places in Oklahoma, so we didn't get to dodge that either. So, no, it was a grind. I was really pleased with the way that we played on Friday night, having to deal with an opponent that's very, very direct and just going to dump the ball on top of you and make you face your own goal and going to try to force you to make a mistake. Rogers, we should have matched up a little bit better, and we ended up getting it done. 13 shots, I think, 8 on target, and only allowing them 1 shot on target that counted. So, yeah, I was pleased with the weekend.
Yeah, go back to Northeastern. You score in the 68th minute, Sullivan Kelly, and then Allison Worley in the 82nd. That's kind of been, yeah, you hang in there, and then you find a way to score late. And good day in goal for Isabel. 6 saves on the afternoon, or in that contest that night. They had some shots on goal, but she was on point and kept them out off the board.
Yeah, and when they created chances on Friday, I mean, they were pretty decent chances. They have an attacking midfielder, number 17, that can peel a ball with either foot. So we worked really hard to try to limit her shots. We knew that it was going to be difficult to not allow her to get one off at least. But I think she got off 2 or 3. And, required some big saves. And that's what we need from our goalkeeper. She's number 3 in the country right now and shutouts and overall statistics. So for us, we we need her to make those plays to be able to keep us in the game and allow us an opportunity if we take a little bit longer, to put one away.
Allison got the lone goal in the Rogers State match in the 57th minute. You had 8 shots compared to their 1, so you had opportunities, just couldn't quite close the deal on a lot of those.
No, we had a chance really early in the second half that if we put that away, a 1v1, keeper gets a toe to it and pushes it wide. And so I think if we put that away, we're able to get a good rhythm going and be able to put more on the board.
We touched on it. 5 of your last 6, you're in this stretch now. 2 of them are out of the way, but 5 of the final 6 on the road to close out the regular season after all those home matches early. Just talk about the mentality to play on the road. And, it's always adversity. Whether it's calls not going your way, the field conditions, whatever. It's always tough. It's not the comfort of home. Just talk about your team, because it seems like they've developed a pretty good mentality in that regard to handle all those things.
No, we know it's going to be a grind. But, yeah, the officials is always one thing. You get a lot of hometown referee action. And, I was just talking about with Coach Brown earlier, like sometimes here we have the same problem, and sometimes our hometown referees aren't as good. And I was talking about it with Jess, where it's like we kind of have to keep our cool because they're going to end up to be your referees the next weekend. So you can't go out there and just batter them, you know what I mean, and then expect them to be like friendly the next weekend. So and then with the fields, it's every field is different because you're at Northeastern and they have rock hard grass, and then you're at Rogers, which is an older turf field. Missouri Southern on Fridays, the field's maintained by the coaching staff, and from what I understand, it's my first trip to Joplin, but from what I understand, it shows. And then, Sunday's, top 20 opponent in Central Missouri, and their field historically is decently nice. So, we'll have to change with whatever's thrown at us, and we don't get to choose, and we're definitely looking forward to coming back home next Friday night.
Did have a question emailed in for you. How good does it feel as a coach to see the progression of your program from when you first started as coaching here at Fort Hays State?
No, it's been an awesome ride, just because I have such a good group of people, and I've had conversations with Curtis and a few other people, and that coming from South Carolina, being from Southern California, you don't realize how different people are in different parts of the country. And just coming here and dealing with the more Midwestern blue collar style of student athlete has been amazing. And they've really bought into everything that, I brought to the table and said, look, this is what we need to be, successful. And they've said, look, you say jump, we'll say how high. And I feel like that's been a great part of this experience.
Kind of a follow-up. You're 7-0-3 at home this year. I think 13-0-7 since you've taken over. Do you think about the fact you've never lost a match on your home pitch?
No, I didn't actually know that stat. Well, I'd like to keep it that way.
Okay. Well, you only have one more chance this year during the regular season. That'll be a big one coming up.
That's a big one.
Yeah. Real quick, you touched on it, Southern and Central Missouri, another big road weekend. And obviously Central's been at the top. You've battled them. They've had great programs. I guess a challenge to try to take care of business first with Southern before you get to that big match with UCL.
Yeah, it's been something that we've been talking about all week during training, is that, Missouri Southern, they haven't won a game, and you don't want it to be you. But they're very athletic and very aggressive. And so they literally just lost to Central Missouri 2-1. And we're in the game for a long while in that, and then with Rogers, and they've competed with a few teams and kept the matches really, really close. And so I would not expect it to be any different, with us, and that they're going to come out and they're going to want to take their pound of flesh, if you will. You know what I'm saying?
All right. Well, tied for first right now with Washburn atop the MIAA standings. Hopefully another good weekend for your gals, and you'll be in that same position, maybe even a little bit better when we talk to you next week. Safe travels. I know you hit the road tomorrow, and big matches coming up on Friday at 6 at Southern, Sunday afternoon at 1 at Central Missouri. Both will be on the MIAA network. Tyson, appreciate the visit. Great job this weekend. Best of luck against the Lions and the Jennies. We'll talk to you next week.
Thank you very much.
There you go.
Look forward to it.
You bet. Tyson John, head women's soccer coach at Fort Hays State, as they try to stay atop the MIAA. Kansas Department of Transportation and the Drive to Zero Coalition invite you to join Tiger fans with a plan. If you're going to be drinking, always designate a sober driver. We'll talk volleyball with Jessica Wood-Atkins when we come back here on the Tiger Sports Network, built by PwC.
The Golden Q is the place for football and food. Friday night, when your team is out of town, stop in for your favorite burger and watch the game, plus catch every NFL game with the NFL Sunday Ticket. Want to enjoy the game from home, but still eat the Golden Q's tasty food? Use their app to place an order to go or use DoorDash. Then, when it's time to blow off some steam, head to the Fort, duck pin, bowling, axe throwing, VR, and check out their huge outdoor patio. Book a party room for your group or host a large gathering at the Fort. The Golden Q and the Fort in Hayes.
From Olsen. Doug on the back row by a solo. Now it's a free ball as Nunnery clears it over. Tigers set up her left hit for Tinder, and she'll get the kill. Deflects off at Hornet. Fort Hays State up by one now, 21-20. That's some of the volleyball action from last night. Tough one for Fort Hays State, losing it 4 to Emporia State. Welcome back to Tiger Talk. Gerard Welbrock, joined by head volleyball coach Jessica Wood-Atkins. Well, a lot to talk about. A couple of 5-set matches over the weekend. Losing 5 to Southern. Get a huge win over a team that was tied for first in Central Missouri on Saturday, and then just a tough one yesterday. Let's go back to the weekend, and I know you weren't a part of it all. You were a little bit under the weather, and the team obviously performed admirably. Got a huge win. Played really well this weekend, and 2 5-set matches. Lost the tough one to Southern that came back with just a gritty win to rally from 0-2 down to beat Central Missouri on Saturday night.
Yeah, I mean, the girls have been working really hard. I think that they're really committed to just leaving everything that they have on the court. Missouri Southern Friday night, that was just a back and forth match, man. It was a fun one, and that's kind of the way it goes with us and Moso a lot. I don't know why. God, I'm having a hard time thinking back to that one. But yeah, I mean, I think that we
had that crazy
well.
second set. You won 31-29.
Yes. And so it was back and forth. And I think, we went back to a 5-1 after doing some statistical comparisons. And really, I just decided to put my hardest fighters on the court. And so I think that shows in the grit and the way that they played and came back. And that fifth set was a tight one, and we made a couple of critical errors there at the end, but still proud of the way that we played.
And then you come back Saturday. You were under the weather. I know they sent you home and said get away from the team.
Yeah.
You don't want anybody else to get sick, and that's not always easy for a team. Give them credit. Give your assistants credit to figure out a way, and obviously to get a big win over a really good Central Missouri team.
Yeah, I mean, a ton of credit to the team and to both of my assistants. They said what's the game plan, and they ran it. And the part that just impresses me most, they're just very humble women. They will never tell you how strong or smart or what they've accomplished unless you ask. But when I told them great, win for 2 rookie college coaches, they just said, that's our team. And I said, it is. That's our team. They know how to play. And somebody asked me, did you not think that they could? And I said, no, we've always known they can. We're just waiting for them to recognize it. And when they play from start to finish, they can beat anybody.
Last night, frustrating match. You got off to a pretty good start. Looked like you're going to put the first set away, and you win that. Who knows how the night goes, but Emporia gets the final 5 to win that first set. It just seemed to squelch some momentum or something, and it was just a battle the rest of the night to try to win that thing.
Yeah, frustrating match, which we knew it was going to be. They're a very gritty team, and we didn't have an answer for number 7. She's a robot, and props to her. I mean, she's an incredible player. But yeah, I mean, I think we had the opportunity to close in the first set, and you can play the shoulda, coulda, woulda, but the reality is we had the opportunity and we didn't take it. And I think that does lead to some frustration because we're repeating some things that we've been working on overcoming. And so when we go to that, but it's like, the growth that we're making is on the mental side, and that tends to take a little bit longer sometimes than the physical side. And so they still feel like we're progressing forward. I mean, they still felt like last night, and I do too, they left everything they had on the court. And as long as you can do that, we can continue to build and grow. But it was a tough one.
I just want to ask you about the replay. There was a lot of reviews last night, but I think it was the second set. They go to the monitor to review. I don't even remember I think they thought it bounced off a head, 4 hits. Mm-hmm. They review, apparently the review, but couldn't get a good view of it.
Right.
And then they replay the play. Is that common? Because I've never seen it. It's like, well, we'll just. I mean, it happened in my backyard a lot when I didn't like the outcome playing baseball. We'd replay that out, and it didn't happen. So just replay it like nothing ever happened because the ruling was in your favor, and then they just wipe it out and replay the point.
Yeah, that was the wrong call.
Okay, well, I figured, but I just wanted to make sure I'm not missing something.
The rule is that if it is indeterminable on video, then you lose the challenge. Unfortunately, they listened to the coach.
Yeah, well, they asked him
far
twice.
too much, and he influenced that far too much. And so, but no, they should have lost the challenge, and it should have been our point.
Now, you did not have replay available when you played them there. I was at Emporia, right?
Correct.
I think because they got reprimanded, and which means nothing because nothing happened. They should not get any challenges then when they come to Hayes. That should be the penalty. You don't have any opportunity to challenge when you're on the road because you did not have it available at your home match. I think that's the way you fix those things.
I think so too. You're more than welcome to make that recommendation to our conference office because they don't like our recommendations. So
we do have another question from an audience member. We've seen some ugly handsets from opponents lately. What are the current rules related to lifts, double hits and second touches?
So the rules are, if it's the first ball, especially if it's on a hard-driven ball, you can double contact because it's considered a simultaneous play. Where the double set can come into play is typically on the second touch.
Okay.
And, yeah, it's been skewed significantly, and I'm not sure why, because that's a judgment call based on the referee. So when you're talking about judgment, that's judgment, right? Like you can't change somebody's eyesight and you can't change their judgment. But I think like sometimes depending on the angle of where the ref is standing, like if they are behind the setter, for instance, if we were on what is like the opponent's starting side, you can see that contact a little bit easier than if they're across the court and the ball is like in front of you and the player's hands. So sometimes their location can make a difference in what they're just able to see. And you will see that impact depending on what side of the court that you're on or how willing the down ref is to help the up ref. Because you'll see down refs sometimes making signals like they see stuff, but it's the up ref's call. And so it really is a team effort on that front, and it depends on their ability to work as a team and their angle.
All right, well, I appreciate the question, appreciate the clarity on that. Real quick, let's talk about the weekend at Pittsburg State on Friday, and then another tough one Saturday in Edmond against number 21 Central Oklahoma. Pitt State right around you in the standings, and I know you thought you could have played better when you met them the first time. Just preview the weekend for us. Another tough challenge out on the road for your gals.
Yeah, it is. It's going to be a weird weekend. We've never played this combo before, and they're back-to-back. And so we are going to leave tomorrow night because typically when we travel, we don't like to put more than 4 hours on the road in a day. Otherwise, their feet are led. They don't jump. They don't react very well on defense. And so we're going to go stay the night in Wichita tomorrow night to then drive to Pitt, play in a tough gym. It's wide open. They typically have a rowdy crowd, and it's usually their parents. It's very strange. But it's a fun environment to be in. Our girls like playing there. They like the challenge of being there. I mean, and last year was one of their favorite memories of that win at Pitt. Then we'll shower, get on the road, and head to Tulsa to stay the night, to then get up and drive to Oklahoma City. So it's going to be weird. We've not done that round before and that kind of travel. But there's really no other way to do it when you have a Tuesday night match. So I think for us, we are preparing for another gritty game just like we had last night against Pitt. I mean, we have really one day to prepare adequately. But they struggle a little bit more on their passing than Emporia does. Emporia, they're just a little grittier as far as defense. I mean, they get to stuff that they have no business getting to, and I think that's the Pitt's struggle point. They've got some heavier hitters, but they make more errors. And so as long as we can play clean and hard, we stand a really good shot. Central Oklahoma, they are a really smart team. Very, very smart. So they're smaller. I mean, we look like giants compared to them. But again, they just do not let the ball hit the floor. They don't let it hit the floor, and they will keep it over, and wait for other people to make mistakes. And so that one is going to be trying for us. We're going to have to block really well and really hard. And I think we're going to have to be very smart about where and how we hit, using hands more than trying to hit it necessarily down and into the court, is trying to ricochet it off of their blockers' hands so that they can't defend. And those are going to be the strategies there.
All right, sounds good. Appreciate the time as always. Glad you're feeling better, and good luck down in Pittsburgh and Edmond this weekend. Hopefully a couple of good matches and a couple of wins to talk about next week.
Thank you.
There you go. Jessica Wood-Atkins, head coach of the Tiger volleyball team. Again, Friday's matches at 6, Saturday afternoon it's at 2 o'clock, and again, both will be streamed on the MIAA network. Tiger Talk brought to you in part by the Taco Shop. Whether you order by phone, use their handy app, dine in, carry out, or delivery, you've never had it so good. The Taco Shop, a Hayes tradition since 1970. Head football coach Chris Brown joins us after the break here on the Tiger Sports Network, built by PwC.
Ready to discover something new? The next time you're in your car, tune your radio to 94.3 FM.
It's here. It's Hayes' greatest hits.
Love it.
On 1400 KAYS and 94.3 FM.
Do you believe in love? Glory days. Wherever
94.3 FM, KAYS. Go ahead, check us out.
Shotgun for Davis. He's going to roll. He wants to come back to the other side, and he's sacked again by Menges. Second sack of the third quarter for Miles Menges. All the way back at the 12-yard line. And one of the four sacks Fort Hays State had on Saturday, knocking off the Lopers of Nebraska Kearney 31-17. Welcome back to Tiger Talk. It's brought to you in part by the HaysMed Orthopedic Institute, the most comprehensive orthopedic care in Western Kansas. Learn more. Go to haysmed.com/orthopedics. Head football coach Chris Brown joins us. First and third quarter, your team looked pretty good. Second and fourth, it was kind of a grind and struggle. But I guess the bottom line, you got to win. At the end of the day, that's what everybody strives to do, and you got it done on Saturday against the Lopers.
Yeah, we did. We got to find a way to play a complete game, and that's just kind of where we are right now. And we've got a bunch of young kids playing, but they are playing hard, and we got to eliminate some mistakes. Turn the ball over and giving up some big plays and things like that. But I'm just proud of the kids. I mean, the way they play, they don't give up. They just keep battling every single play, and you can tell they're having some fun out there as well, which is a big part of playing football. Is be physical, be aggressive, but enjoy the game as well, and cheer on your teammates. And our kids are doing those things right now.
I know you didn't like the physicality against Southern as much as you'd had earlier this year. It felt like your team took a step back in the right direction. There were some big-time hits out there. You got to T.J. Davis. It seemed like your team was a little bit more physical in this one.
They were, and the craziest thing is the more physical you are, the less injuries you usually have, and because you're actually bringing the punishment instead of absorbing the punishment. So that's what we try to teach week in, week out, is just physicality, and we try to do that at practice. Yesterday we only really get physical one day of the week, but you got to stay physical, you got to stay aggressive, because that's what wins these games in our conference is physicality. If you got physicality and you play hard and you play aggressive and don't turn over the ball and get some turnovers, great things will happen. You'll win some games.
Turnovers, obviously, not the way you wanted. You had a few of them. It's kind of become a problem. You're getting a few takeaways, not as many as you'd like, but that's kind of one of the great equalizers all the time. You've had a few more of those here lately than you had earlier in the year.
It's just seeing things and missed assignments and guys not doing their job. They're or running the right route, but still we got to see guys not running the right route. Don't throw the ball, just throw it out of bounds and on a single a high safety go get that ball, because you just put it up there, and then just a little more patience on that guy crossing, because that linebacker was sitting there. If he waits just a little bit longer, we're talking about a split second. We probably get the first down on 3rd and 14. So it's just little things we got to still work on and get better at. But Jack's still a young quarterback, still trying to figure this out, and he's only getting better every single game.
I want to ask you about the running game. 235 yards on the ground, second best rushing attack. He had one more yard against Lincoln, but this was against Kearney, and you had ran the ball well last week against Missouri Southern. Starting to see that offensive line kind of figured out, play with a little more attitude, and the running backs have responded. Great day for Shane Watts, 162 yards, first 100-yard game for him since he's moved to that new position. Just talk about the running game. It seems like you're starting to get some consistency built up there.
It's starting to click, and you can kind of see those offensive linemen starting to get the feel of when to come off on double teams and get to the next level. And Shane Watts is doing a really good job of seeing the hole and hitting the hole very hard. And he's a little faster than what I thought he was. He does have some speed, but the kid is very, very strong as well. He's one of the hardest workers you'll see in the weight room too, and he takes pride in the weight room. But he's done a really good job of moving from defense to offense and really now becoming our number one tailback. So kudos to him. I mean, he bet on himself and he made the right bet. And, he's doing really well for us. But it started to come along, but we still need to continue, right, to run the ball and get yardage. And, there was a whole new game for our pass game.
Now, talk about that change. Was that something you guys asked him to do? Did he come to you about wanting to make that switch to the offensive side of the ball?
He came to us, and it's a good story. I mean, it really is, because we have scholarships, and there's defensive money, offensive money, and there's special teams money as well. And he wanted to move over to the offense, but he was on a defensive scholarship. I said, well, that's probably gone right now. And he goes, I'm going to bet on myself. And good job for him betting on himself, because he earned himself a little bit more money. But it was his decision, and we weren't going to guarantee him that he was going to play. But in his mind, he's going to find a way to get himself on the football field, and now he's our guy. So good. I'm proud of that kid. I mean, he's a grinder, he's a worker, and he bet on himself, and he made the right bet.
We saw a few different looks. Saw the shovel pass. We heard the highlight earlier in the show to K.O. Corbin. He joked at the time that, looked like Travis Kelce catching a Patrick Mahomes pass. They couldn't have done it any better. We saw three backs in the backfield shifting out, some different looks involving with Bryson Smith there. Seems like you're getting a little bit more creative on the offensive side of the ball here as the season moves along.
I guess when the head coach goes back to defense, you get a little more creative because we got a little bit more simplified on defense now. But I guess, they are doing some good things. They're putting some great packages together on offense and finding the kids – what kids can do and using every kid's strength for our strengths as well, and put him in the back, putting Bryson in the backfield. I mean, he played some quarterback at Houston as well, so he is a kid that can throw the ball and he can run runs very well. He's very athletic and he can see holes and things like that. So that's probably a package we'll keep in and then probably start adding a few more little things off of it here and there. But use what you got. We got some weapons over there, so we need to use those weapons and score as many points as we can.
Let's go about the defense, especially up front. It's felt like they dominated the line of scrimmage, and they've done that multiple times now. They're kind of like the offensive line kind of coming into their own, but it's become a strength of this team, and it makes if you're good up front, then the linebackers can do their thing, and then it makes it easier on the secondary. But they really did a good job of containing T.J. Davis, and I know Kearney has a new coach, and they utilize him differently, but he's still T.J. Davis, and you did a really good job, I thought, of not letting him run wild and get out of the pocket and do all those things he does.
They did a great job. Coach Harris put a great game plan together for him as well, and the things that we were doing. But it was hard this week because we had players of the week. When we had to pick three of them because we couldn't figure out which one of the three played the best because they all did great things, in that game as well. So they just continue to get better each week. They feed off of each other. Those guys play with some energy. They play with some excitement. There's some enthusiasm, and they're all in. And the better they play, the better our defense is going to be.
Fort Hays State Football invites you to join Tiger fans with a plan. If you're going to be drinking, always designate a sober driver. Tiger Talk also brought to you by BTI, your John Deere dealer. Locations in Buckland, Grape Bend, Greensburg, Hoxie, Ness City, and Pratt. BTI, our family in partnership with your family. We'll take our final break, and we'll preview Saturday afternoon, Yager Stadium in Topeka, Fort Hays State, and the Washburn Ichabods. We'll do that when we return to Tiger Talk here on the Tiger Sports Network, built by PWC.
That was another legend on 99 KZ Country. And yes, before that, we had a brand new artist. Your home for today's stars and the legends. We play real country. I'm Teresa Trapp. Weather, news, sports, it's all here. We're on Facebook, and there is a Listen Live link at HaysPost.com. Dial us in on your radio at 99.5 FM. KHAZ, Real Country. 99 KZ Country.
Fort Hays State 5 of 6 on fourth downs this year. Dawson play action, time in the pocket, going to the end zone for Jaden Horace. He makes the catch. Touchdown, Fort Hays State on 4th and 9. Jaden Horace has his second touchdown catch of the day, and the Tigers lead by 20, 30-10. Yeah, look at that point. Tigers may run away from it, but they end up winning 31-17 over Nebraska Kearney. Welcome back to Tiger Talk. We're live inside the Robins Center, part of Tiger Club, talking some football with head coach Chris Brown. It's become a pretty good combination, Jack Dawson to Jaden Horace. He's got just a knack to get open and then run down some of those passes, which for a quarterback is a nice thing to have.
It is, and Jaden, it's most time those balls are in there. You say 50-50 with Jaden, it's probably 90-10.
Yeah.
I mean, because he just finds a way to go get the football and get himself in good position. He's got great body control and he's got great hands. So we got to continue to use him and the other weapons we have around him with Bryson and Watts and then the other Watts brother as well at tailback and then Cormany and all those guys too. So we got some weapons. We should just keep using those guys. But Jaden has really been a pleasant surprise, and I'm glad he's on my team.
Yeah, that's receiving corps has been really fun to watch. All right, Yager Stadium in Topeka. You were there a lot when you were an assistant and defensive coordinator at Washburn. And we talked a few weeks ago about Missouri Western, and just weird things happen. Tough team. They always seem to have your number. And Washburn's right up there. I mean, you beat them a couple of times, but they have, for whatever reason, been really difficult to beat. Haven't always played particularly well, especially in Topeka. I know they have yet to win a conference game, but this is a scary game in that regard because this has been a tough place for Fort Hays State to play over the years.
Well, not this week.
Okay,
right?
I like that. I like where you're going.
This week, and we got to get rid of that and just go in there and play our game. But no, we're going to play a complete game. I mean, even though they're 1-6 right now, that doesn't really show who they are. I mean, they've had a lot of injuries.
They're kind of having a season like you did last year, quite honestly.
Yeah, they are. And so, we just need to go in there and take care of business and do our job, do our assignments. Defensively, we just can't give up the big play, and that's the big thing because they do take some shots, and that's how they're able to stay in some of these games. And then, offensively, we got to take care of the ball, get the run game going, and hopefully just score some big off some big plays as well, with our play action and things like that. But they're a good football team. I mean, they're still Washburn, and they're 1-6 right now, but they still are a darn good football team.
Yeah, you talk about turnovers. That's been the last couple of years the factor. The I guess maybe not necessarily the determining factor, but one of the big factors in them winning. You guys did not take care of the football, and for whatever reason, you seem to turn it over more against Washburn than anybody else. Hopefully, your guys can alleviate that, as you said.
Yeah, I hope so. We do ball security every single day, and a little more emphasis on it this week because the last week we had a couple on the ground as well, but we got a couple of them back too. But that's a big part of it. We got to eliminate our turnovers, but we've got to create some turnovers as well defensively and do everything we can in this game. We just got to be physical, be aggressive, and go play our game and get better each week. But this is a week we need to start putting everything together.
It seems like when you play them, it's kind of an ugly game. And you were there. Coach Harris was there. Obviously, Craig Schurig, you guys were under. There's a lot of moving parts between the two, ties back and forth to each program. I'm guessing, especially defensively, you run very similar things. That has a lot to do with it because you guys know each other so well.
Yeah, it is. And, we just got to be better than they are, on Saturday. And hopefully we are. We just got to make sure we do our assignments and not have any missed assignments and get the call. And, sometimes you worry about the calls, too, because signals sometimes are a little bit similar, but you try not to look across the way and see what their signals are, but sometimes you do, and I'm sure they're doing the same thing. So, we just got to make sure we take care of business when we go there. We've got to make sure when we get there Friday night that we go to bed and do the things that we need to do to wake up the next morning ready to go and play football. So we step on the field and do our job and do our assignments. Hopefully good things will happen.
5-2 right now, part of a three-way tie for third place in the MIAA, looking for a fourth straight win. Haven't done that since 19. Hopefully can get it done and keep this thing rolling and see where it goes. It's getting kind of exciting.
It is, and we just got to keep taking care of business and doing our thing, and a lot rides on how we play. I'm not really, I tell our kids I'm not worried about the opponent, I'm worried about you, and then we got to take care of ourselves and go win ball games.
All right, sounds good. Chris, as always, appreciate it. Good luck this Saturday.
Thanks, George.
There you go, Chris Brown, head coach of the Tigers. Again, that'll be a 1 o'clock kick from Yager Stadium in Topeka. We'll be on the air at noon with the Tiger Tailgate Show presented by Auto World Used Cars. And, of course, you can sync up the radio from the radio broadcast and the MIAA Network TV feed. Use the TuneIn app. Pause whichever one's ahead. Let them sync up by kickoff, and you can listen to the radio while watching it on the MIAA Network. Tiger Talk today brought to you by the Hayes Med Orthopedic Institute, Golden Belt Bank of Hayes and Ellis, BTI, and the Taco Shop. That'll wrap it up. We'll see you here next Wednesday on Tiger Talk. Voice of the Tigers, Gerard Welbrock, inviting you to join us for Tiger Talk Wednesday afternoons at 12:10 on KAYS. The show is part of the weekly Tiger Club meetings live from the Robbins Center on the Fort Hays State campus and brought to you by Golden Belt Bank of Hayes and Ellis, the Hayes Med Orthopedic Institute, the Taco Shop, and BTI, your area John Deere dealer. That's Tiger Talk, live from Tiger Club Wednesdays at 12:10 on 94.3 FM and 1400 AM KAYS.